Yeah. Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me, our co-hosts Maceo Dill and Garrett Punchy Dill. I do want to start this particular show off with some sad news, and we want to wish the Charles Marshall family all the condolences in the world. Mr. Marshall, as we all know, former president of the Bermuda Football Association, as well as a former president of the Referees Association, has sadly passed, and we want to wish everyone in his family all the best at this time. You know, and from the Island Stats family, we just want to say condolences to the Charles Marshall family. Anyone want to add in anything on Mr. Marshall?
I would. Such a wonderful person, man. You know, I had my run-ins with him when he was when I was playing his refereeing, and come up to me and say, "Listen, hey, I'm gonna tell you something right now. You're not getting over that." But such, you know, even after he had finished refereeing, and we'll see each other on the street, we'll have some wonderful laughs and stuff like that. And I was just a wonderful person, you know. And in terms of his refereeing credentials, oh, unbelievable, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'll say, you know, as you guys say, the wishes, you know, wish his family, condolences to his family, you know. But just what he done for the sport in Bermuda, it's in itself, you know. It just really what he accomplished, you know. And so again, you know, just, you know, my condolences.
I think it's also important to mention, you know, what he stood for in this sport. You know, he presided over our football at one of our most successful periods, right? You know, he was able to bring a business mindset, you know, from his obvious entrepreneurship into football, and bring certain monies into football at a crucial time when we read the fathers in our World Cup campaigns. You know, and me speaking to him in my official role, I mean, he also, you know, understood football from a perspective of bridging the gap between the whites and the blacks. He stood, you know, he done a lot of work around bridging that gap, you know, that obviously used to exist in our country, you know, and him putting himself forward to be in that position and to give back to football and using sports to bridge that gap. And obviously his financial contribution that he's gave back to football over the last 5 or 6 years, you know, he's donated millions of dollars of his own money back into football. So that's important too, and it definitely would be a serious loss, you know, to football. Yeah.
The other thing is, with so many, you know, the seniority, the knowledge that he brought to the game, and not in refereeing, but such a sincere person, you know, and dedicated to refereeing, and again, also what he did for the country in terms of, I know he refereed a lot of FIFA games. He refereed the FIFA games also, qualifiers. So I just think that, you know, I would like to see him really acknowledge. And so this country can understand exactly what Mr. Marshall did for this country.
Definitely. I again, all the condolences to the Marshall family at this time. Well, gentlemen, we've had a week of football, and one can only say, wow, how many goals were scored. In the 9 games this week, there was a total of 53 goals scored. Just going to run down the scores We're going to repeat there was a late game last week that didn't produce any goals. That was Boulevard Blazers and Devonshire Cougars playing to a 0-0 draw. Then on Wednesday night in the doubleheader, it was Boulevard Blazers 4, Crossroads 3, and it was Dendy Town Hornets 1, Devonshire Cougars 0. And then on yesterday, and we're staying with the Premier Division, was PHC Zebras winning 5-2 over Hamilton Parish. And then today, it was North Village Rams 4, Somerset Trojans 0, St. George's Colts 11, Robin Hood 1. In the first division, yesterday was a doubleheader at Southampton Oval. Southampton Rangers 5, BAA 2, Paget Lions 7, Somerset Eagles 0, Wolves 2, Devonshire Colts 1. That was today at Wellington Oval. And today at Police Field, it was Young Men's Social Club 4, Island Rangers 2. So let's get right to it. That Boulevard Cougars match to end last week, it was started when we started our show and was still going on when we ended it. But Boulevard Blazers, we've been talking about them leaking goals. We've been talking about Devonshire Cougars scoring goals. But on the day when you see those crosstown rivalries, Boulevard was able to pull one off and get a point out of it. So your thoughts on, Punchy, your thoughts on Devonshire Cougars not being able to score on Boulevard?
I think let's go back to Boulevard itself and saying some Jomar in terms of what was lacking there, leaking goals. He must have been really satisfied with that result. Really satisfied with that result against Cougars. I think we talked about that, but Jomar's work is cut out for him. And that's a good start for him. That was a really good, I think that really probably would look at them and saying, you know what, let's start from here. This is just the beginning of our resurgence of where we want to go. So, but in that result also with Cougars, going to Cougars now, that's maybe, I've heard some rumblings, I've heard some things, people talk, some rumblings going on, what's happening at the Cougars. There's something's going on out there. But anyway, I just, getting back to with Boulevard, that's a real positive start to where they want to go. And, Jomar, hopefully, must be happy with that.
Maceo, the fact that Boulevard were able to get a point, were you surprised by that result?
When you see why that happens, because Boulevard is a team, although I speak of their lack of organization, they're a team and players that will fight. They're fighters. And because of their fighters, Cougars wouldn't have it their own way. So Cougars, if you look at the games that are Cougars that have won, is because they can win them just because they're Cougars and they can get them across the line because they're also fighters. Culturally, they're fighters. And Boulevard's got the younger fighters. They're actually got the younger fighters. So it was a game where both teams are not at their best. Both teams are not at their best. So we know Cougars is not at its best, but it's been fighting to get games across the line. And Boulevard just had more aggressive fighters. So they literally canceled each other out. They wasn't organized enough for them to score and to figure out how to score and win the game. But they basically canceled each other out. So after watching the game and seeing it made sense how it panned out at the end of the day.
Sure. So then let's move on to the very next game, which was the first game on Wednesday night. Again, Boulevard Blazers back in action, playing Crossroads. Boulevard 4, Crossroads 3. We just talked about the fact that Boulevard was able to pull one off and manage a draw with a team like Devonshire Cougars, but then that brings confidence in a team that had been leaking goals. They were averaging giving up 3 goals a game. They managed to cut that out that day. But here they are again, giving up 3 goals, and Crossroads again giving up 3 goals a game on a regular. They give up 4 and lose 4-3. So let's talk a little bit about the Crossroads, I'm sorry, the Cougars component in this, I mean, the Boulevard component in this game, because it's interesting how one result can make a big difference in confidence in a team. And with that draw against a high-flying Cougars team, here you have Boulevard coming away with a 4-3 win over Crossroads.
Yeah, I saw the game against Crossroads as well, right? The Boulevard game against Crossroads, and amazing enough, they're down. They went down in that game. Again, that fighting piece that they have, the Boulevard can add to the organization of that fighting piece. A lot can happen. You know, and I saw Crossroads, they're not got that puzzle together either. They can't stop leaking goals. And, you know, Boulevard had an informed Ian Cook that night. You know, Ian Cook. They had an informed Ian Cook where they created opportunities because Crossroads can't defend. So he got opportunities and got 3 good goals. So if you look at that game, it was like 3-2 at halftime. It was 5 goals being scored at halftime. It ended up 4-3. So it still lends itself that there is a lack of organization, defensive organization within Boulevard. You know, we know the challenges that Crossroads have, and their lack of defensive organization to be able to stop goals. So that's how that kind of panned out. You know, Crossroads is in some real trouble, and Boulevard still have a lot to figure out.
Sure. So, Punchy, let's talk a bit about Crossroads, because, again, they're a team where they've played, they played 4 games, and they've given up 16 goals. You know, that's 4 goals a game if you average it out. It's just leaking too many at the time.
Yeah. A bit for concern without and Ralph Bean Jr. when he said, I want to have a conversation with you. Maybe you want to talk about what I could probably give you some advice on concerning his team. But, you know, with Crossroads, you have to look at the history. And I'm still thinking about what did the Moroccan do with the players that he have? What did he bring to them? What did he do to make Crossroads such a threat 4 or 5 years ago? And look at the demise of them now. I don't know if Gumbo. I think Gumbo is really going to be up against the wall here with what's happening here. They don't. There's no shutouts. I don't think Crossroads have had a shutout yet this season. I don't think so. So what does he have to work with?
Well,
what does he have to work with? And when he, and then what would he change his coaching style? What is the philosophy?
That's the conversation right there. The conversation is he going to change his coaching style? The Moroccan player from back to front. He put the ball long over the back for faster, stronger players. So you know he didn't take any.
That's where Donovan Thompson scored all his goals.
Donovan Thompson scored goals. He put crosses in. Well, you know, with Gumbo, I see his teams looking to play at the back at times, and they're not good enough to do that.
They're not good enough. No, it's basically, if you would statistically say, okay, you pass, you know, Crossroads, you're gonna eventually you're gonna get the ball from them. They're gonna try to play at the back, but you don't get the ball back from them. And then defensively, they're not that good. They're not really. No, they're not. So again, with Ralph, his first. This is going to be a real testing time for him, and I think we talked about this at the beginning of the season too, of the show. For the coaches that come in, and with their names, of course, Ralph Gumbo being Jr. Well, it still doesn't mean that that's an automatic success because who you are. It's about showing us what else you can come up with, and I think that's what Ralph Gumbo being Jr. will have to figure out.
Yeah.
What he has to do to work with what he has.
Yeah. Let me bring in Coach Keita. Good evening, madam. How are you?
Good evening. How you guys doing? Missed you guys. Been a little under the weather, but I'm recovering.
Good to hear. Well, Coach, we have you have 2 teams that are struggling to stop leaking goals in Boulevard and in Crossroads. And they split 7 goals with Boulevard winning 4-3. You know, advice on what needs to be done for both teams to stop leaking so many goals.
I mean, I've watched Boulevard play, so they have a pretty I'm not gonna say old. I don't know how to say. I don't want to say experienced either. But backline. But at the end of the day, Gumbo is gonna have to, as Uncle Punchy said just now, work with what he has. That is the key right now. And when we start talking about some of the other teams, we're gonna have a good conversation about what the talent, and we're gonna have a good conversation about exposure. Gumbo, his last coaching job was what, North Village.
Mm-hmm.
Different expectations, different types of players. He's going to Crossroads, and we have to be honest, Crossroads has been hanging by a thread since Fahid left.
Mm-hmm.
They have been hoping that what he had started, they could have carried on. What was done when he left? Did he leave anything? Did he leave a blueprint? As Maceo said, he had a style. Have they been playing that, or have the coaches that's come in tried to put their own coaching technique or their own coaching style into that team? Or were they able to continue on with what he had? Obviously not. Like we talk about it every week, guys, defensive setups. Like that you're leaking goals. Nobody's gonna tell you. You're there to see it. What are you doing in training to prepare for the next week? Are we still trying to play attacking football? And I haven't seen Crossroads play. And are they still trying to play attacking football? Jomar has a whole different animal that he has to deal with in Boulevard, and with Ian, scoring goals now. Ian's probably been one of our better players in this island for a very long time. He's just stuck with Boulevard. If you'd have put him in some other teams, he'd have been soaring even more. He's now just taking up the challenge. Like, I'm going to carry this team. I'm going to do it. And I have a lot of respect for him because I watched the game against St. George's, and I watched how he kept his head in that situation. Right, he kept his head and he showed his maturity, and now he's showing it with the boots. So they definitely have to work on their defensive tactics. But Boulevard, I think that Ian Coke is actually been the turning point for Boulevard.
Sure. Well, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk that Dandytown Devonshire Cougars match. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome back. Well, one of the games which I think was the one we said we wanted to look at the most, and that was the second game on Wednesday night, where it pitted Dandytown Hornets, the defending champions, taking on Devonshire Cougars, who looked like they wanted to threaten to claim a league title this early in the season. But in the end, the defending champions, Dandytown Hornets, were able to pull off a 1-0 victory. And surprisingly, in our picks, we all went with Cougars, so we'll get to that later on. But that particular match, Maceo, let's talk a little bit about Dandytown, because as we've already indicated, we knew Gerald Beam was going to have his challenges. He's been around the coaching staff for a little while, but now it's his voice that's out there in charge. The unfortunate thing, or could have been fortunate for them that night, was he was actually sent off the bench in the match. So let's talk a little bit about Dandytown Hornets and in beating Devonshire Cougars.
Well, I see what they're doing, right? I see he's making his team hard to beat. He's figuring out what, and that's against the culture of Dandytown, really, because they like to beat people. They actually like to be the ones that are outplaying and beating people. So he realizes where he is at this point in time, as his team not being able to outplay people, whether it be fitness, whether it be personnel, whether it be mentality or hangover from last season winning. So he's making his team hard to beat. Set it up where they're hard to beat, and look where they got a goal from. They got a goal from a defender at Drake. They got a goal from a defender late in the first half, and then because they're hard to beat, Cougars are not at it either. They're not at it, whereas they're figuring out how to break down teams. Cougars are our aging team. They don't have that explosiveness, to break down a team now. Even though they have experience, they don't have that youth explosiveness to break down teams. So that's how that game sort of panned out. And Dandytown's hanging around. They haven't lost the league game. They're hanging around and hoping that they can get it right where they can start beating people. I can see that's where it's going. Can we get it right where we can actually start beating games and dominating games like they like?
Yeah. Coach Keita, you look at a team like Devonshire Cougars, this was their chance to make a statement against the defending champions, but they came up a goal short.
I'll tell you what, the women's national team started training on Wednesday. I'm going to leave it there. And Coach Dankers was there at my training session first. So, yeah, I was, I'm sure we all did pick Cougars because we felt that they were in that form. And, listening to Mace's analysis, it looks like Dandytown had figured out what clearly Crossroads and some other teams haven't figured out. Let's work on the defensive side of the game. Now, I know Aaron Dankins very well, and they enough that defensively, that's his plug. That's his thing. So he will fine-tune that defensive side. And now, as Maceo said, looking to now find a way to attack once that part's fixed, right? And Cougars may have gone into the match feeling that, we've handled them already. We're in good form. But as he said, didn't figure out how to break down that defensive block. And I wasn't aware that Dandytown's goal came from Adre. Which bodes well. If your defenders, is scoring and defending, doing his job, now they work on the attacking side of the game. So, Dandytown's gonna come forward. They're gonna now work further up the pitch. So, Cougars will have to have a rethink and go into their next match. They've been found out. When I heard the result, I was like, oh, congratulations, Dandytown, but it was a shocking result for me based on Cougars' current form.
And Punchy, if you look at it, I mean, Dandytown would have kind of surprised Devonshire Cougars. But again, when you have those cross-town rivalries, one can only expect a tough match, regardless of who's in form, who's not in form.
Yeah. It's a surprise. I think when we was talking about Dandytown at the beginning of the season, a slow start, right? They've got quality there. There's quality there, right? It's probably just adjusting and fixing the little individual mistakes, I call it. So that was a good morale booster for Dandytown. I do think that eventually, with what they have out there, what they intend to build, what their intentions are, is that they're not going to just fall by the wayside. Once they get past these little, what happened to them against Hamilton Parish, look what they're doing now. They're just squeaking out, just easing out, getting these results. And by that, you get to fix it one game at a time. I think that's what's going to happen with them. There's talent there. We know that. Yeah, I'm never even gonna cut them out in terms of the trophies for this season.
Right.
No way. Yeah, I think eventually, we have to be patient. See, okay, this is look how this 1-0 victory against Cougars is a very important result for the coaching staff. Yeah.
So then yesterday at Wellington Oval, Hamilton Parish went down 5-2 to PHC. Maceo, I didn't say this against for Crossroads, but I'm going to say this for Hamilton Parish. Is Sergio still in line for the North Village job in your eyes? I thought I'll say that.
But it's interesting, right? If you put people in their natural habitats, it was going to be interesting to see at this level is Parish was a natural habitat for Sergio, because actually Parish and North Village are almost the same people. If you really historically look at it, they're almost the same people. If I talk about my cousin Patches, North Village and from Hamilton Parish, North Village and Bayless Bay people are almost the same people. Sergio actually lives down there, although he grew up at North Village. But I think Parish got too ahead of themselves. I think they got too ahead of themselves as a community, and be interesting. Like I said, coaches earn their money when they are defeated and they rally their troops to bounce back. And that's where you earn your money. There's no problem being defeated. It's like, how do I now get to the troops to bounce back? How do I shut the murmurs down from the players? How do I shut the murmurs down from the community? And as I know in North Village, it's like if I can win 6 games in a row and I lose one game, like the conversations are happening. Especially, I had to face the fire range and Punchy there, after losing one game. So that's what Sergio's going through down there. I can guarantee that he's going through that down, and trying to reel those players back in. It surprised me, the result, to be honest. It surprised me, but he's got a situation now. Trust me, he does have a situation now. Him and Ralphie, they both got situations now. I don't know who's the front runner for the North Village job anymore.
But Punchy, PHC seemed to have gotten their league season after that 1-0 loss to North Village. It seemed like they've steadied the ship now, and they understand what the task is at hand. That victory kind of would have given them even a more morale booster leading into the remainder of this season. Your thoughts on PHC?
Another club that's in transition from, you remember, I think it's the Russell guy that went back to England. Am I correct?
Enrique.
Enrique,
yeah. He left. He's going back to England, and then you got Antoine is left. So there's that quality that you're missing. What I do like about PHC, it's their organization. What I've seen, what they can bounce back from. They're gonna be a contention for a lot of things. Also, there's not another club that's just gonna be like one off. I think that for them, with what they have and what they're attempting up there, and I applaud Mr. Vincent Coachra Jr. for what he's doing, for what he's left with, what he's trying to recreate, and they're gonna be a force to reckon with. I think they're gonna be in for it's again for interesting season. They're gonna be in contention. Yes, they will. They will be. The result against Hamilton Parish, I always thought that in terms of you're looking at both teams, this is not to say that Hamilton Parish doesn't have the best of players, but I think PHC have a very good what their intentions are, what they want to do. And then, look at the coaching staff at PHC also, look at what's going on up there. It's just not a one-off situation. They're building a real institution there, which is good. So the PHC is going to be okay. They will be. They will be, yeah.
Coach, you look at a team like PHC catching a team like Hamilton Parish, who may or may not have their eyes set on Wednesday night, a semifinal, in the Dudley Eve. But how does Hamilton Parish quickly regroup for this semifinal?
Hey, what I see is Hamilton Parish have kind of been shell shocked. So, how often did they League 5 girls last season? Now we talk about the mental side of the game. What happens when Hamilton Parish are going down? I haven't seen any games. Are the players arguing with one another? Are they able to rally each other together and say, come on, we're still in this when the score is close? So at the end of the day, I think that, Sergio is going to have to start looking at that part. For 2 seasons, remember, they were supposed to come up. They didn't, for whatever reason, had another season on there, just having success. Having success in the first division. And now you come to the Premier Division. And we sat there from the beginning of the show, like Punch used to say it all the time. How's Hamilton Parish going to deal with when they come up against a team that's going to put 5 girls in there? That's, what I mean? And so, I think St. George's put 5 in them first, right, last week.
Yep.
Now, you think about St. George's has been that team that's been in the Hamilton Parish situation when they first came back up and they had to battle when they had to. They're on their feet now for a few reasons. But now Hamilton Parish have to now see if they can hang on and hold on and last. Surviving in the league now. I think they still put it correctly. Get ahead of yourselves in looking at winning trophies or, just find your feet in the Premier Division. It's been a while. I think Sergio still is the right person for the job, yes, for them and for us. And I say us as in North Village, but I think that take these as lessons. Don't take them as losses. Take them as lessons, and just continue to work with their team. And there's talent in that Hamilton Parish team, and now just moving forward. 3 losses on the chart. It's never easy to take. It's never. It's 12 goals they've given up in 3 games. That's a lot of goals, right? So. Yeah, they just got to get back to the drawing board and just keep going. Just keep going.
Sure. Well, we're going to take our next commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the 2 Premier Division games from today. North Village beating Somerset Trojans 4-0, and St. George's Colts defeating Robin Hood 11-1. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, at Bernard Park earlier today, it was the North Village Rams continuing their unbeaten run in the season, beating Somerset Trojans 4-0. Surprisingly enough, and not surprisingly enough, North Village are yet to concede a goal in the league. They scored 11 in their 4 games, and they are yet to concede a goal. So Coach Keita, clearly having an established goalkeeper like Detre Bell in goal, and I made mention of it last week that the last time they had a established goalkeeper in Taj Bell, they won the league.
Correct.
And in between that, they've missed a quote unquote established goalkeeper because you've had fill-ins kind of thing. But having the confidence in a genuine goalkeeper, do you think that's what's helping North Village as well as them kind of coming together?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of the point I was making about St. George's. We're leaking goals in the beginning of the season, right? Having missed, Freddie Hole, bless his soul. But that helps because it helps to organize your back line. If you got somebody in like a Detroit Bow who, goalkeepers see the whole field and they have to be able to talk, but they have to know what they're talking about too, right? They can't just be out there just saying anything. So they will have the confidence in having Detroit Bow back there. I think that's impressive. It's probably the only team in the league that hasn't leaked any goals in the first 4 matches, if I'm correct. So definitely having that, and obviously working on the defensive tactics. The good thing about it is that defensively they're having clean sheets and they're scoring goals. So, while there aren't too many flashy players, I will say, with North Village, it appears that they are playing as a unit. I watched them play against Robin Hood, and it was a pretty good game for me to watch. Timmy Figueredo had the game of his life in that game. His defenders just let him down. I mean, he was pulling save after save after save, clear cuts one-on-one. And, he was putting out the saves, but it was the second goal. Village guys was coming in and with tap-ins, right? I think the first goal may have been like not a tap-in. But, it was good to watch Village just playing. And it was good to just see the communication. It was positive communication. It wasn't a bunch of somebody didn't pass the ball or somebody, the fans were getting on the guys for missing. But, you could see it was a different type of camaraderie there. And Trey Ming definitely makes a difference in that midfield. We lost Dimitri Daniels to Cougars and then picked up Trey Ming. So, not too much, maybe a step up, in talent-wise. So, I could just see where North Village is actually even. Looks like they're enjoying their football. But definitely having D-Trey back there makes a huge difference.
Sure. And Maceo, clearly, Somerset still have a lot of work to do. And I guess the job is for Coach Scott Morton to try and still figure things out.
Yeah, I saw that game today. I've seen Somerset twice now. It's about the puzzle piece again. It's about changing mentality. So, I mean, today, Justin Corday was on the bench because he's just returned from Greece. And he's not been able to train, so he was on the bench. For me, he always has to start if he's in the team, and it has to be built around him. So Justin Corday today are wide, and he's the person that you want to have the ball the most because he's the best ball handler. You need to get his body language right. You need to be able to get his body language right. I saw it had J.S. Rattery. That's J.S. Rattery at center back. Now, while J.S. Rattery is a ball handler, he is a ball handler. He doesn't have any fitness to him. And what happened today in the second goal that sort of put the nail in Somerset is that Trey Mean recognized that JS was going to carry the ball out the back and try to play it out the back. And Trey Mean was smart enough to press him. And when that ball got turned over, North Village got their second goal. And that was the nail in Somerset court where they couldn't get. So now this goes back to reflect on coaching, the tactics and putting the puzzle piece together correctly to deal with what you got. And I'll cross-reference that with Jay. Jay at Dennytown, he knows what his not got. He knows his not got a goalkeeper now, and he's starting to put the puzzle piece together on Dennytown to mitigate that problem. North Village has a goalkeeper, and that can take care of his own little piece, right? But I also want to say something very interesting about North Village. I see Kenny maneuver the puzzle again today. The last game I saw, the only player that was missing was a young right back. I don't know why he was missing with the hurt. And instead of making one change at the right back position, Ken has made 5 changes to how he set his team up today. I think I'm gonna start calling him the Tinkerman. Like the Italian, the Tinkerman. And Ian Simmons came in today. And immediately he came in a number 10 position, gave away a ball that allowed Somerset to attack. I'm saying this, to be very careful about that tinkering when they come to play Dennytown next week. That's where this is going to be a real test, that tinkering that he does, because I thought he had it right based on the puzzle the last time I saw North Village play. But it's tinkering it again.
Yeah. Punchy, before I go to you, Punchy, we've got with us this evening, Trevor Forth, and I want to say good evening to Trevor, and thank you for allowing us to use the Forth House tonight. But talking about Somerset, and of course, a team that you played for, you see them now struggling. Back when you played for Somerset, take us through some of the things in which you guys played for and with. If you struggle for, there were times you lost back, but now a city like this.
First of all, good evening, Coach Keita, Punchy Deal, and Maceo. How you guys doing this evening?
Good.
Well, I broke into Somerset's team at a ripe age of 18. I had to really train hard and make my time to break into the team. And once I broke in, playing with Dennis Brown, the Lance Browns, the Stevie Rawlins, so I was able to get the good coaching on the field of play. Somerset right now, seems like they're in a transitional stage right now. When you're involved in the Somerset program, from minimum, it's already instilled in you from young that, hey, when you put this jersey on, this is what you're representing. And I'm not sure what is going on up there at this present time. This Scott Morton has taken over, but I'm not sure if it's being instilled in these guys at an early age. I know Dia's got a youth program up here, so hopefully that has to start from the grassroots. But to take 6, I watched them play against Patriots. They lost 6-1 or 6, whatever it was, 6-0. And then I didn't see the game, but they lost another 6 against Cougars.
Yes.
Right. So I'm like, our mindset back then. I remember losing 7-3, and Herbert Basketball was responsible. But I'm telling these guys about that 7 you put in St. David's, but guaranteed you're not losing the more 7s and 6s. So a product has to come into play, and I'm not sure if that's, like I said, being instilled in these young guys.
Mm-hmm. And of course, they have an opportunity this week to gain some confidence back. They have Hamilton Parish in the semifinal with the league, and then a few nights later, they host them at Somerset Cricket Club for the league. So there's an opportunity actually for both teams to kind of kickstart the season, but it's going to be important for Somerset.
It's going to be important for Somerset. All it takes is one good victory, one good performance. In the cup game, anything can happen. And both of those teams are struggling right now. So come Wednesday, it's like, hey, we need to try and win this game, to catapult our season. And then we take the same opponent on Saturday night. So one victory can catapult your team. But like I said, it's hard for me to judge them because I haven't really seen them as much as I would like to, and I haven't seen the training sessions either. But those 2 games this week is very of high importance.
Thanks a lot, Trevor. Appreciate you. Punchy, just hearing that, your thoughts on what this young Somerset team would need to do. I mean, outside of all the work that the coach is putting in, what do the players need to do?
Well, let me just elaborate on today's game. Was it that Northwest was that good, or was Somerset that bad? I think Somerset was just real bad, real bad. They were real bad, and they've been bad for a while. And I think let's go back to last week where we talked about the demise of what's happening in the West End. It's a cause for concern. I couldn't really see in Somerset's team any. I see what Mort is trying to do. I know it's not going to work. I just don't think. I couldn't see no quality there. There's a lack of quality in the West End for players. I mean, let's really be honest here. Look what they're going through, the amount the coaches are going through. But I figured out down today, I say, guys, where's the talent there? I didn't see a whole lot of talent. They only had about 4 shots on goal and 1 shot that Corday came on, and then he ain't gonna score against Detroit Baldwin, of course. I was like, no, this just ain't gonna work. And it's cause for concern for the West End. I'm speaking in terms of what I've witnessed in the last couple of years, and statistically, it's showing the demise of the West End footballing community up there. What is really going on there? Because I didn't see it today. Northwest was just able to just really cruise today, and that's a cause for concern to me. You got Morty there. He's trying to do structure. Yes, he is. But 4 passes out the back, and then you give the ball to midfield. Norfolk just like, hey, thank you very much. Bye. So there's a lot wrong up there, and this country, as being a silver city, what it was, we have to look at, wow, that was an institution. What has gone wrong? With North Village, I'm not still totally convinced. No, I'm not totally convinced yet. Nope. On any given day, I think even though we look at the scores, the really in terms of goals against, the shutouts, but you got to still also look at chances that were created by other teams. Because I think even last week against Hamilton Parish, there was some really clear-cut chances that they could have been 2-0 down in the first 15 minutes. So when you go through that, I think I'm not convinced by that. We're going to see Norfolk, don't forget, in age-wise, Norfolk, I think, and I'm very sure about this, sir, that they're the oldest team in this league. They're the most senior team in this league. So what we're expecting of you, if you're in a senior team, then you've got to play like that. I'm not convinced. I'm not really convinced by the shutouts. Trust me, I'm not. And it's going to show. Let's see when tomorrow. It's going to be interesting, the game against Cougars on Wednesday night. A one-off situation. It's going to be interesting.
The final Premier Division game of the week was St. George's Colts defeating Robin Hood 11-1. Keita, we know last week St. George's was able to start Jonte Smith, who had a hat trick. This week he was able to score 4 goals. I mean, he scored the first 3 goals of the game in a matter of 35 minutes. And then he scored in the second half. But St. George's seemed to have put some pieces together, and it looked as if they're on a path. But as Macy had already said, they do not need to get ahead of themselves. They need to make sure that they stay grounded. Your thoughts on St. George's Colts, Coach Keita? She's dropped out. All right, so Maceo, you heard everything I said. So your thoughts on St. George's Colts?
Are they the dark horse, Errol?
What's that?
Is St. George's the dark horse? Are they?
4 games in. Yeah, 4 games in.
Are they? Look, you're grinning from ear to ear, right? You're down there grinning from ear to ear. You can't hold that grin back. But no, but listen, it's so many dynamics with St. George's right now, right? And it's such excitement around St. George's right now, because what I do know about their coaching staff right there, now that got weapons, and they'll release those. For me, Drew Hayward and Calvin Deal will be the only coaches that I see in Bermuda when they got weapons. They'll release those weapons, and they'll put all those weapons, and they might have just St. George's might have just figured out their defensive problems with the attacking weapons that they have. So they might have just figured out their defensive problems that we're going to keep attacking, and that's going to resolve our defensive problems for now. So I think potentially they are very much the dark horse. I also think, I just imagine if at this point in time, with what St. George's have in the whole brothers, as well as in John Tate, imagine if they had the goalkeeper and Asaji available to them. Like, what could I be Dan saying they're a football club now? Are they going to convince me? Is St. George's now going to convince me that they're actually a football club other than a cricket club? Like, that could be possibly happening, you know. And I would just let the arrogance fly.
What's the commonality among the 5 players that Maceo mentioned? So we feed Freddie, Osaji, Jonte, Blaze, and Cash.
They all got experience and exposure overseas.
Hello. So right now, the coaches don't even have to coach.
Yeah.
Really, their job right now is to get the other people around this, and I saw it against Boulevard. How are you going to get the other guys around Liz, Cash, and Jonte to keep playing, to play and help play at that level? Because it's when those players around there can't play at that level, and those 3 players get frustrated, what happens next? So right now, as Mason said, right now, St. George's has figured out we're going to press, we're going to attack, we're going to play through Jonte as much as possible. He is the most experienced now, probably on the island. All right, and no matter what team he plays in, it's gonna be easy, right? It's not even hard for him. You know, my husband, we saw him at the banquet last night, and my husband said to him, "Hey, ease these guys up," and his response was, "I'm not even in shape yet." Imagine, right? So right now, St. George's are reaping the rewards of the sons of the soil. Yes, as much as we wish they could have continued internationally and made it big, now they're using their experience. I mean, I watched Blaze Hall against Boulevard. It was so easy. Like, in my mind, I was saying, George is good enough for this boy. But then I was like, well, who would be? Like, it was, if he was even putting in 35% of what he could do, he's good and good. He was putting the ball through guys' legs. He was going across guys for fun. He was pulling the ball back. He was sitting guys down. He was putting in crosses. Like, it was a joy to watch. And if I can see, like, a team playing like that, mercy. But I think now St. George's are very much contenders for everything.
It's important.
So who's going to figure out how to stop the top 3? And then I think they got somebody who I think is over in Spain that I think played in the team today.
You're talking about Cameron Neal. He was one of the first players that we sent to Spain. So
yes, he plays St. George's now. So now you got 4.
He's a very good
Spanish player.
Yeah, he's a very good ball handler. He's very educated. He actually lives in St. George's, right? So, but what is important to reiterate? I think these are the first coaches that are let their weapons fly. Yeah. I can remember all the weapons being at North Village when they came back. They didn't let them all fly at the same time. These are the first coaches that are letting their weapons fly.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and they have done what they had to do to sustain it thus far. So they've done. St. George's has done what they had to do to sustain it. If those players that have helped sustain them understand their role, they're going to be unstoppable. It's can they keep the dressing room where the dressing room has to stay so that everybody understands the goal and understands those weapons are going to play before you. Yeah, that's the tricky part. That's the mental side of the game again. Everybody has to understand the rule now.
Long as they win, that's the thing.
That's all. Yes.
That, believe it or not, is in every team. As long as you're winning, all the negative stuff gets swept under the carpet. The minute you start losing, you start to see it creeping in.
Oh, I want to add to this. It's very important to recognize those what Keto said and what Mason said. Those three men, John Tate, look where they've been playing overseas. right? Now, when I was living in England, I went and watched those Vanarama League games. They were very structured and very good games. So what you got now, and it's very important. I'm so happy that because it's going to change what's happening through our country. Who's at this level and who's not at that level? It's no joke, It's really St. George's got a good format. Those whole boys have played overseas for a while, and so is John Tate. So look at statistically how many goals he scored already. It's just really it's a no-brainer. Yes, of course. My thing is what the coaching staff. Because when you come to change room and you're talking to John Tate now, you're going to have a conversation about what we do the next half. If we're down 1-0, what we're going to do. It's also with the coaching. I think it's remarkable. I'm glad. I think it's a test for the coaching staff at St. George's, which is really going to be good for the country. Because now what we're talking about is like A, B, and C, D players. And it's really truthful here. I don't think so. I think some have a lot of C and D players. What you got at St. George's now, those whole boys, you got John Tate, that's the finished product, and then you got the coaching staff that's going to probably load all that there. And what's going to be interesting, again, in this country now, we're getting down to, it's almost like we're getting down to 14s, because at the beginning, when make sure you were talking about Hamilton Parish. But what is Hamilton Parish got compared to John Tate? And with Sergio, who's the Sergio Zeros? How are we going to fix this? It's an interesting prospect of what it's going to be like. Say they draw for the FA Cup. St. George against North Village. St. George against Demiton. Oh, yeah.
Earl, a question for you, Earl. Is St. George's, should we be considering St. George's as contenders?
Leicester City. Leicester City. Leicester City. Leicester City.
I could join the conversation now.
I say Leicester City. Leicester City years ago. That's right.
Quietly right now, they're on top of the table.
Hey.
No difference. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's still early days. They still have some of the tougher teams to play in the league, but what they've been able to display thus far, teams will not be able to take them lightly. They would have to come with their A game week in and week out.
You're not going, and I'm going to add to this, sir, about going away what we talked about. If Hamilton Parish, again, Keto, you mentioned it. Hamilton Parish had to play a Saturday night up at Somerset and lose. I don't think that John Tate Smith and those whole boys can go down to North Village and be afraid to be playing on a Sunday afternoon in front of 2,000 people.
I love it.
No, it ain't going to happen. So when they go play against PHC on a Saturday or Friday night, you're going to see quality. So it's I think it's just so great. Now, all we're going to see now is witness the ones that I think we spoke about. Quality versus a good coaching and what you're going to do against that quality. Because I'm going to tell you what I've been today, and again, making notes with North Village, with St. George's, and already in 2 games, you can't give John Tate Smith no room. It's going to crucify you. And I think that's what we're going to see. And it's good. I think, and what it's good for is for the country. I think it's going to happen that people will start following St. George and say, listen, I want to see John Tate Smith play, man. I want to see them guys play. So it's great. It's great for us, for the country to see. Yeah.
Coach Keita, tell that young man to stay around, because when we get to St. David's,
Will St. David's teams down at my pool. Can they just stay down there? All the teams on yellow and blue. I really don't feel like hearing it. It's just it's like, I don't care. I'm going to come in this show and put this yellow and blue on you.
I got the cricket bats, so I hope they got the bats.
Yeah. But it makes you. So it's Somerset now, a cricket club.
Yeah.
St. George's football club now. Rules have reversed, huh? My goodness.
Rules have reversed. I mean, St. George's can convince me that they're a football club with the type of football that they're playing and what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I tell you, listen. You guys talk about defense. We'll talk about defensive tactics for teams, right? I'm not sure how many defensive lines are going to be able to hold John Tate, Taj, John Tate, Blaze, and Cash. It's like in England. Who's good? Holland.
Peter,
In
I know
England.
the boy Cameron Neal. I know his play. He
Yeah.
2 years of football at Valencia in Spain, and then
Pepe speaks very highly of him. He speaks highly.
is a ball handler and is playing down the back. Is a ball handler and is very, very intelligent. You know,
Yeah, St.
very, very, very
Excellent.
intelligent. So I know
St. George's converted patches. They're not going to convert me, but I may go watch them play. But they will not.
just as
Will not convert me.
yeah, the boy Cameron Neal was part of the people that him and the goalkeeper Nathan Trott. Those were the two people that we sent over to Valencia, Spain. And I'm sorry, it was also Asaji. Asaji was with him, Asaji Basco. Those were the three people that we sent over to Valencia, Spain.
Yeah.
They were
Nice.
all quality. Cameron Neal loves the game. Yeah, he loves the game dearly. I thought he was still away in Miami. I think I talked to his parents last time. He was working in Miami after he finished his degree, but obviously his back.
Yeah, he's back now. So that's awesome. You know, hey, it is what it is, right? We have to have quality, you know. We want to see that. You know, we want to see that. We want to have these kinds of conversations about more than just St. George's. Can we have it about more than just, you know, one team? Unfortunately, I don't want to say failed opportunities in England led to this conversation, but, you know, that may be just the reality at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk First Division. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, you know, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, yesterday was a doubleheader in First Division play at Southampton Oval. The first match saw Southampton Rangers defeat BAA 5-2. BAA had a man sent off early in the match when the Rangers were leading 1-0. They ended up scoring to make it 1-1, but eventually Rangers will run away 5-2 winners. So let me ask you, we talked about Southampton Rangers at the beginning of the season, as they had lost a whole host of players. But they have seemed, under the new coach, to have put things somewhat into perspective. And you know, they've won 2 of the games and they've drawn the other. Not having lost, giving up 4 goals. So your early thoughts, Punchy, on a team like Southampton Rangers?
You know, they're going through a restructuring period, aren't they? my concern for them is that even though what they're trying to achieve there in terms of youth programs, if you get promoted, where are you going from there? What are you going for? So again, you know, they're rebuilding there. I wish them the best, but there's still the dynamics of that club in terms of an institutional football. It's still got some ways to go, as we know. And so those results, those positive results, we're going to see where it goes from there. Because, you know, I just think that you see 1 year they're up, next year they're down. And I think that's when Southern Rangers is going to be a club like that for a while until they really decide what they want to do in terms of football and cricket. What's going to be the agenda, the most important agenda, which I think St. George's is figuring out now.
Maceo, BAA, back-to-back defeats. Mark in charge of BAA right now. I saw about 45 minutes of that match yesterday.
Yeah,
and I think the average age is what, about 17?
17, it's as much structure that they bring, they just don't have the strength to get games across the line.
Right.
That tight, you know. And their stretch. I mean, they had like three or four players missing because they had coaching duties with youth teams. They have two more players. The guy Patrick Quinn, who scored a lot of goals for him last year, that's got an ankle injury. You know, I think the youthness of them is starting to show up as far as the physical piece of it.
Yes.
Physical piece of it, and now they're picking up injuries. You know, so that is superseding the structure. You know, that physical piece and that youthism is superseding the structure that they actually have in their play, because they did have structure, but Rangers was just able to bully them and beat them. At the end of the day, Rangers was able to do that. Rangers for me is a wider conversation of the restructuring of the BFA league. That's the conversation Rangers fits in. How do you restructure that league where you don't get the yo-yo teams? You know, is it? I mean, so many different. I don't know what their thought is. So many different thoughts to make everything relevant, such as, you know, okay, if we've got a 10-team league, do we relegate 4 teams and 4 teams comes up, so it makes every game competitive? You know, only the top 6 come up, or do we have a 20-team league and you know? So it's so many dynamics that you to consider, and clubs like Rangers is a part of that conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Coach Keita, you heard about the youthfulness of a team like BAA. And I mean, a lot of times yesterday where they got physically manhandled off the ball because they don't have that strength yet. What advice would you have if you was part of the coaching staff to the head coach on how to kind of navigate, especially when you're playing teams that figure out I'm going to be physical with these guys early to intimidate them?
Yeah, well, iron sharpens iron. You know, it's good for those young players, especially to use that elsewhere, national teams, or even if they are allowed to play in under 23s. You know, this experience that they're gonna have is gonna bode well for them now. As far as the advice for the coach, you know, you either have the strength as a player or you don't. You know, physically, are they smaller than these players, or is it mentally that they are able to manhandle them because they are older? So that's what the coach will have to look at. Like if it's a player that's small going up against a bigger player, it's really not a whole lot you can do. But you know, it's just helping the players to understand maybe they have to move the ball quicker. You know, maybe they have to just play faster, sharper. Defensively, how do you fix that? Again, just having a good defensive block to make sure that players are covering each other really, really well. So for them, they're young. They're playing in this league. And you will have players that's gonna just be that. They may not even be as skillful as these young players, but they're gonna know that I could get this guy because I'm just gonna body him. I'm just gonna body check him, and now I could get him out of the game. So again, it's a growing process, and I'm glad. I mean, Andrew still has that team, correct?
Yeah, he's kind of given the roles and responsibility to Mark.
Okay.
Today, but he's just helping to make sure that they're organized.
So again, I'm sure that they're coaching these boys for them to get opportunities. And opportunities, and I speak of that outside of her, just getting them strong, helping them understand the game so that, they can, I don't think that they're in it as far as like being like contenders or anything like that. I really think they understand what they are working with and just creating opportunities for them.
Sure. And then the second match yesterday, it was Paget Lions defeating Somerset Eagles 7-0. Maceo, this is not the best start for Somerset Eagles. They are struggling at the wrong end of the table. In 3 matches, giving up 19 goals, only scoring twice. I know you would have seen some of it, but what was your impression of a team like Somerset Eagles?
No hope for them in their current situation. I mean, I didn't even see, although they had a lot of transfer players, I didn't see a full bench of players. I saw players that were unfit on the team. One of their tailsman players, Anwar Telford, didn't play that he had a bit of quality from him. I had him at North Village for a long time. It is a big gap in his quality versus the rest of the players' quality. Somerset Eagles is another club that's part of the wider conversation of the restructuring of the league, like to make them relevant, to make that where they are relevant, right? So in their current situation they're a fading club. They're a fading organization from a football perspective.
Yeah. So Coach Keita, here we have a team that in the transfer market in Paget, we saw that they picked up a whole host of players. The first 2 outings didn't go as planned, although despite them not losing them, they didn't win them. But then they make a statement, 7-0 over Somerset Eagles, just trying to get their season started. Your thoughts on a team like Paget?
It's again, lack of quality, right? It's not a big conversation. Like Eagles just obviously lack quality. If they're not in shape, we just have to call it as it is. They don't have quality players. We know Paget have quality players. They have players that played in the Premier League, and at this time, they don't even have to be the best quality players that left the Premier League. All right, so we can't hide from the fact that we have players that just cannot play. The said that the club can be sustainable, can still be somewhat relevant. But when we talk about quality, are those players able to open their body? Are they able to hit a diagonal ball? Are they able to take the ball out of the air? Do they have good touch? Can they shoot? All right. Those are the things that make you a quality player. If Antoine's playing, like Antoine could do that with his eyes. Antoine playing in the first division is like Jonte playing in the Premier in Bermuda. So at the end of the day, it's quality. It's the quality down there. We know Patrick's going to do well down there because they've got some quality players that's maybe too qualified for the first division. So when I saw that school, I was not surprised at all. I'm just been shocked that Patrick took a while to find their feet. But they're fond of now. And teams beware because simple quality. You just can't play. And it's okay. It's recreational.
Sure. Punchy, your thoughts on a struggling team like Somerset Eagles? They're going through a transition because they got a group of youngsters as well. They got an influx from Somerset and other teams, but they haven't gelled as of yet. So your thoughts on a team like Somerset Eagles? I know earlier you were talking about your concerns about the West End, but this is actually showing up for you.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that because I think Jeremy Salam is up there. Am I correct? Yeah. Look at the results that he's doing, and he came. I know there was definitely a lot of young players left Somerset Cricket Club and went on to Eagles. What's surprising about that is that those results, like 7. So my concern would be, what is Jeremy doing there? What actually is he doing? Because those results, there's a question for concern for me. If I was the president, I would have him have a real chat with him on Monday, tonight, about these results.
Not even.
So it's questionable. I do think he's in charge of the team. Am I correct? He's in charge.
Yeah.
I mean, he is in charge, but you have to look at it. I mean, what Keto was talking about, players, can they pass? Can they open the body? I'll go so far. You got players. The question we ask, can they actually run?
Certainly.
That are not, not trying to be funny. They're not coordinated to run.
But we also look at they came from Somerset.
We're not going to get into kicking or pass. They're not actually coordinated to run.
But
we look at where they came from.
Yeah,
so we look at they came from Somerset. Right. It's almost like a player that didn't play for United. He's going now to Newcastle or somewhere. Why this guy's not? Why can't he play? You're assuming. Like, I don't know the players that came from Somerset that went to Somerset. Was Gilmore playing them last year? Did they play? Did they have any time on the pitch? But we're just saying that they came from Somerset. You know what I mean?
For the West Stand is what we're talking about. When it's on the West Stand, are the quality players up there? What's really going on in the West Stand? And so it's a cause for concern to me. What's really going on in the West End? Are we seeing quality players come to the West End anymore? What's happening in the whole society up there?
Yeah. And then we move to today's matches. Wolves edged Devonshire Colts 2-1. Coach Kita, clearly there's some concern at Devonshire Colts. They lost their first game. They edged St. David's in their second game, but here they are now with a defeat against Wolves. If they don't get it right, and if they don't get it right soon, they could find themselves losing more players.
Yeah, again, it's going to be up and down like that, so they will be able to take advantage based off of the quality that they have. They'll take advantage of the St. David's or those teams that are struggling at the time, but then they'll come up against a social club of Wolves. Who else is Paget, and will struggle, right? They're gonna need time again. The lost players. And they got to figure out again, what is the quality of the players that's playing for Colts? Are they good quality players? Because the ones that left them were good quality players, and probably that's why they left. It's the same conversation we're having with St. George's. Make sure that the other players that's at St. George's match the quality of those three players. That's where the problem's going to come. So Colts is now left with players that got to probably do a lot of more basic tactical training and then get them playing as a unit. So, when they come up against a tough opposition, this may be the result. But they got to stick together, man. They can't implode. They just got to battle it out.
Sure. Punchy, you talk about the organization of Wolves. They've played 3 games, won 2 of them, drawn 1. They've scored 8 times, but only given up 3 goals. Is Wolves quietly making a statement against Punchy?
Yeah, that's me with Wolves. Again, all that talent is just not. It's not nurtured, right? It's not nurtured. It's not. I just think that the Wolves going to have that problem until they decide exactly where they're going with what they have, and make sure the person in charge of that, who's coaching them, knows exactly what he has. And I think there's a problem at Wolves right now. I just think that there's so much talent there, but it's not nurtured right. And I think we can almost probably with Joma at Boulevard. Talent, or does he have, how much talent does he have? I think Wolves has an abundance of talent. I really do think so. Every time you see him, they could do something remarkable. Then they just something happens and then they just fall apart. So again, in the preseason, I went down and watched the training sessions. I wasn't too happy with what I saw, but no, with that talent, you need to nurture it. You need to coach them, guys. And I think that there's so much more that can come out of that camp.
So Maceo, a team like Wolves, do they have enough talent to keep a good run going in this first division this time around?
Yeah, potentially. When you look at the teams, what's manifesting itself is Social Club, Rangers, amazingly enough, and Paget. They're sort of manifesting themselves as the sort of front runners. And Wolves will be in that conversation. Wolves definitely will be in that conversation. How long they will be in that conversation, it remains to be seen. But they'll definitely, I think they'll be in that conversation.
Sure. And then the final first division game of this week, it saw Young Man Social Club defeat Ireland Rangers, two teams that were top of the table going into the week. It was 4-2 to Young Man Social Club. So Punchy, a team like Ireland Rangers, they've played 4 games. They've won 2 and lost 2. 1 week they're good, next week not so good. The results haven't gone their way. Your thoughts on a team like Ireland Rangers?
Yeah, that's a good enthusiasm. I think it's Marcio. Did we talk about Marcio Hunt up there?
Yes.
Yeah, and they played away from him. Am I correct? They played.
Yes.
Yeah. It's getting the beginning of the season. You got somebody else who's enthusiastic, really pushing the players. You know, getting them organized at some levels. But you're gonna see there's gonna be like today. This result today, how will they bounce back? They're the best of the best in the West End. I keep picking on the West End right now. Anyway, they're the best of the bunch. You know, so it's a little turned on, but at least I wish, you know, with Marcio Hunt, I think, right, he's a footballer and he talks a lot about football. He loves it. He loves the people that he coaches. He loves the Hill Sunset area. So, yeah, I think they're gonna be okay. I probably 3rd or 4th, not promotion. No, not promotion. No.
Yeah. So Maceo, a team like Young Man Social Club, we've seen them start seasons extremely well, and then towards the middle or the end, they seem to fall off for some reason or the other. It's almost like they get stage fright of promotion. But looking at them at an early start this year, they've played their 4 games, and they've won 3 of them and drawn 1. They drew that one against Paget, which would have given them an even more morale booster. But a team like Social Club leading the first division right now, your thoughts on them?
Well, it's interesting because I mean I know Streaker's knowledge of the game, right? You know, and maybe Social Club is out of space, and for interesting enough, Streaker has origin from Social Club, right? From that area, he played a lot of cricket for him, so he knows that culture just as he knows the culture in North Village, right? And maybe he gets to a point where these players are listening to him, and at that level that they're at, they start listening to him and play at a structure. If they put that structure together, you know, that's going to help them get across that line. It will help them get across the line if they're starting to listen to the coach at that level. Would it work at a premier level? Definitely not with the players. But I think it definitely can work, and they have to be considered a contender. They have to be considered a contender to be promoted.
Yeah. So Coach Keeler, there you had 2 teams top of the table going into the weekend. You look at a team like Social Club, again, early good start. You know, just looking at the 2, given some self-evaluation, just your thoughts on how the season would possibly pan out for those 2 teams.
Well, again, Ireland Rangers have, you know, the experience of Leo Burgess there. But I have to agree with Macy on Streaker, getting them to play together, and he has a lot of knowledge about this game. The good thing is that, you know, when you're winning, you know, training sessions are probably amazing. Everybody's coming out to training, you know, having that winning feeling. You know, I think a lot of times the Social Club last year once it was a loss and morale dropped, you know, attitudes changed. Island Rangers will go back to the drawing board. They will see the 2 games they won. What did they do well? What went well for them? I don't remember the opponents, but again, was it a weaker opposition? And now Island Rangers have come up against a real opposition, and you know, the mental part of the game, both going in, who's going in with the pressure, who feels pressured. You know, we're both top of the table. It's early in the season. It's very early in the season. You know, the next time they meet up in Dockyard, it may be a different result. You know, But I think that both teams just need to go back and continue to work on the things that they've been working on. But Stricker will get out of these players what he needs to get out of the players.
All right. Well, it's come that time that we look at our picks from last week and go into this week's picks. Last week there was a match that finished late, and it was Boulevard Blazers and Devonshire Cougars, and that match ended scoreless. We all took Devonshire Cougars, and so neither of us added to our total. Last week I had 9, Punchy had 7, Macy had 7, and Coach Kita had 8. So now on to this week, midweek. It was Boulevard Blazers 4, Crossroads 3. Myself, Punchy, and Coach Kita took Blazers. Maceo, you took a draw. So we each got a point. Dandytown beat Devonshire Cougars 1-0. And earlier I said we all took Devonshire Cougars. And then it was Hamilton Parish going down 5-2 to PHC. Myself, Maceo, and Coach Kita took PHC. Punchy, you took Hamilton Parish. North Village Rams defeated Somerset Trojans 4-0. We all took North Village. And then St. George's and Robin Hood, we all took St. George's. Then into the first division, Paget defeated Somerset Eagles 7-0. We all took Paget. The Wolves Devonshire Colts match, Punchy and Maceo took Wolves. Coach Kita and myself took a draw, so they would get a point in that. Young Men's Social Club defeated Ireland Rangers 4-2. Myself and Punchy took Social Club. Maceo and Coach Kita took Ireland Rangers, and then the final match, Southampton Rangers defeated BAA 5-2. We all except Punchy took BAA. Punchy took a draw. So at the end of this week's play, I finished with 6. Punchy finished with 6. Maceo with 5. Coach Kita with 5. So now we're on to this week, and we start with the Dudley Eve semifinals on Wednesday night at the PHC Stadium. Hamilton Parish will take on the Somerset Trojans. Punchy.
I'm gonna take Hamilton Parish.
Maceo?
Hamilton Parish. It'd be a good game for them to bounce back there.
Mm.
Coach?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Peppers.
And that's going to make all 4 of us taking Hamilton Parish. Then the nightcap. North Village Rams against Devonshire Cougars. Maceo.
This is North Village's first test. I'm actually going to take North Village. I'm going to take North Village. They're hard to score on. Yeah. And they give their players an opportunity to their strikers opportunity to score. I'm going to take North Village.
Okay. Coach?
No, North Village.
I'm going to go against you guys. I think Cougars will have this one. I think Kwame will charge up his batteries and get this guys kicking. So I'm going to take Devonshire Cougars. Punchy?
I'm not gonna follow my heart. This is a tough one. I still not convinced about North Village yet. But maybe this one. I'm gonna go with North Village on this. I think they're gonna squeak through.
Okay. Then in Premier Division League play on Saturday night up at the Somerset Cricket Club, it is Somerset Trojans and Hamilton Parish. Coach?
Hamilton Parish. I'm gonna do the double. More is my guy too, but
although I took Parish in the semifinal, I'm gonna take the Trojans in this one, and I'll tell you what. If Parish win, it's gonna be like they won the trophy, so they're gonna party until Sunday.
All right.
There's that. I don't agree.
You don't agree? Okay.
It's quite possible, Earl.
If they make it into the final,
I literally think that's what happened with Dandytown. They got ahead of themselves after beating Dandytown, and they're not recovered from beating Dandytown yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Punchy?
Jesus Lord. That night game, you know, I'm trusting my instinct. I'm gonna go with Parish on that. I'm gonna go with Parish.
Maceo?
I actually think they're going to learn from the success of beating Dannytown. They're going to learn. They're not going to repeat that. They're not going to repeat that mistake again. You know, they're not going to repeat that mistake again. I think they want to be here. They took some licks and they want to be here. And Summers is just too easy to beat. They're just too easy to beat. So I'm going to take Hamilton Parish.
Okay. Then the next match on Sunday, it is Dandytown Hornets versus North Village Rams. I'm going to take
Where's that game? Where's that game?
BAA.
Is that a Sunday afternoon?
Sunday afternoon. I'm going to take a draw. Punchy?
Wow. Oh, Jesus. Hey, you know, Earl? I'll tell you when done. I'll tell you. I think I'm gonna go with Dannytown on this one.
Okay. Maceo?
When does the transfer kick in? It will be
November the 11th. November the 11th.
Oh.
Big.
So the transfer don't kick in November. That this is a very hard one to call, man. It's a hard one to call because I think this will be a draw too. I'm gonna pick a draw for this one.
Draw.
Nothing's gonna be decided this early.
Yeah. Coach?
North Village.
It's just hard with it too. It's just very hard with it. There's no door.
All right. So the next match.
The ball last night is convinced again.
Next match. PHC Zebras entertain Crossroads up at the PHC Stadium. Punchy, you're up.
I'm going to take PHC on that. The Crossroads, Gumbo's got so much work to do. I don't think, nope, I'm going to PHC on this one.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, PHC, that's easy.
PHC.
Okay. The late game next week, which starts at 6 p.m., Devonshire Cougars are at home to St. George's Colts.
Oh, can we put the show back next week? I want to see that game.
Yeah. Maceo, can you come pick me up and bring my media pass? I'll go with you.
All right, Jesus, is it my time?
Oh, wow.
I can't pay $10 no more. I've been to a game since. I'm paid. I paid about $50 this season already.
So Maceo, you're up.
I think St. George's, man. St. George's, nobody's gonna be able to stop this guy's attacking.
Nope.
I think St. George's.
Okay. Coach?
St. George's. Give my heart.
I don't know about my
You said
heart.
they weren't going to convert you. You said they were not going to convert you.
My heart is Patches, mate. Not
Okay.
Patches. I'm always going to be Patches.
All right. So I've taken St. George's as well. Punchy?
You know, let's be honest about this in terms of what we're dealing with here. I'm going to take St. George's on this one because just what we talked about, what we're seeing, what we're witnessing here. You know, Jonte with the Hall brothers, definitely a St. George's win, and the confidence is just oozing out of them.
I'm excited about him. I'm excited.
I really am. It's like everybody just is good for the country. I say like now we want to see. It's not one of that talk about that game and okay, St. George's going to no, it's 3-1 to Cougars. No more. It's Kwame's got his work cut out for him. Right. And like a lot of these people, like a lot of these coaches now, against Jonte, against those two Hall brothers, they're going to have to really show us, really, how are you going to stop this? How are you going to do, what you're going to do about this? Yeah.
There's a midweek Premier Division game next week and this week, and that's Boulevard versus Robin Hood. Coach?
I'm sorry, who was the teams?
Boulevard and Robin Hood.
Boulevard.
I'm going to take Boulevard as well. Punchy?
I'm taking Boulevard on that. I think Robin Hood is what we're talking about. Is heading south. They're heading south.
And
I'm good with Robin Hood. I'm good with Boulevard for this.
Boulevard. Ian Cook's farm form.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be licking his lips.
Okay, now we enter into the first division, and it's going to be Saturday evening, or Saturday at 5 p.m. at Somerset Cricket Club. Island Rangers entertains Paget Lions. I'm going to take Paget. Punchy?
I'm going to take Paget on this. I think that result, 7-0, is a positive result. I think, step by step. I'm just going to be Paget on this. Yeah.
Maceo?
Paget. I mean, I saw him play against, and I saw him play this weekend. They weren't by no means good. They just won because the players stayed there on the field. This is going to be a test for the coaching staff and Don Lewis. Now he's got some personality players. He's got some big figures. How he puts that puzzle together to entertain and dominate games, because they've got the personnel to do it now. But Paget will win this.
Sure. Coach?
I'm going with Paget.
Okay.
I'm going to faith in my boy Vic.
All right. The second match of a triple header on Saturday night, because it's going to be Island Rangers and Paget at 5. Somerset Eagles will host St. David's at 7, and then we've already picked the nightcap at 9, which is Hamilton Parish, Somerset and Hamilton Parish. So this match, Somerset Eagles versus St. David's. Punchy.
St. David's traveling on everything. I think I'm gonna pick Somerset Eagles on this one.
Okay. Eagles. Maceo?
Even though St. David's are cricketers, they do know a little bit about football. They know. I'll give them that. And I saw Somerset Eagles, like I said, it's not a matter of Somerset Eagles players passing balls. Somerset Eagles players can't run. Like, they don't have the running coordination. St. David's have the running coordination at least. The players have the running coordination. I'm picking St. David's.
They're running into Bill. So
yeah, exactly. They have the running. They run into Bill. They actually have the running. Some of Somerset Eagles players didn't have the running coordination. Like,
yes. Coach?
St. David's.
Hot? You gave him hot?
No. St. David's. Not because all downstairs either. I don't know. I just don't think, DT. St. David's right now is the battle of the blue and gold.
All right. Wolves will entertain Young Man Social Club on Sunday. Maceo, you're up.
That's another hard one to call, right? There's two teams. Like, you never know what Wolves is going to do, man. I actually think I'm picking Social Club because I can at least count on Social Club under Streaker's guidance to come to some type of organization. I can't count on Wolves to come with organization. I can't count on them to come with any organization. So I think organization is going to beat this one. So I'm picking Social Club. You're on mute.
Sorry, Coach. Sorry.
I'm gonna take Social Club as well.
Okay. I'm going to take Social Club in this match as well. And Punchy?
I'm gonna go to Social Club. I add into what Maceo said about Streaker's organization. I think again, Wolves is gonna let me down in terms of in these particular games, what they really good at, what they lack, and that's organization. I'm going to Social Club on this one.
Okay. And the final first division match, Devonshire Colts will entertain Southampton Rangers. Coach?
Rangers.
I've taken Southampton Rangers in this match as well. Punchy?
I'm taking Rangers on that. There seems to be something going on up there. That result this weekend was a good positive result. So I'm gonna go with Rangers. I'm gonna go with Rangers.
And Maceo?
Yeah, they have a bit of momentum pushing at them right now. I think that momentum can carry them another week. Yeah.
Okay.
All
right. So we've gotten to the part where we picked the player of the week for last week, and following discussions we had prior to the beginning of the show, we decided that Jonte Smith, for his performance last week, would be the first Player of the Week for football for this season, and he is now the Goslin's Player of the Week. We do have one more piece of. I have with me David Bascom, who just finished the MASL draft. David, who is making his way to me now.
Earl, did we offer condolences to David and his brothers on the show? Okay, I missed it.
Yeah,
and also condolences to Charlie Marshall's family as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we have joining us the MASL draft was finished, and as the coach of the Baltimore Blast, you had 10 picks in round 1, 2, and 3. First time the MASL has had a draft. So what was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I'm glad that, first of all, good evening, you guys. I see these faces. They now was into it because I was supposed to be there. Obviously, I'm not there. So I had Lester Felician actually kind of, head out there. And it was very interesting because when doing a draft, the first thing you have to do is and the first thing I had to do was look at the personnel of my actual players, of my team, which meant is that you're looking at as close to 85 players in the draft. 20 of those players was actually goalkeepers. I have 4 goalkeepers already, so that basically I don't need a goalkeeper. Then I had to go on based on age. I had to go through based on, location, visas. So once I had to do that, first, what I end up doing is cutting, 27 players out of that. So now it came down to talent. Out of those the players that was left over, you're looking at only 42 players are going to get drafted. 13 of those players, 5 of them were probably our top picks. So with that is that I'm now drafting 10. So chance of me getting a top player is going to be slim. So now you have to look at, do I have time to develop players? So the excitement there was great. Yeah, I was on the phone with, Coach Lester. And the one thing the league is trying to do, actually we had a couple of Bermudians that had signed up for the draft. Young man Thomas, I'm not sure of his last name, but I know he signed up. I just know these guys by the numbers, the number they actually went in. And, 20 plus guys did not get drafted at all. It's very tough because you're responsible for these young men's lives and giving them that opportunity to play pro. The atmosphere was great. It was 4 days. Players had an intake on Thursday. After that, they went through it dinner. The coaches got a chance to meet them, mingle with all the players. Then they trained. They trained in the morning, goalkeepers and regular players, and played actually 2 games each day. So they played this morning, but every day they kept chopping down the teams and basically cutting players. The worst thing about these drafts at all is that it's really tough because you can lose some good talent. So what my team is doing now, my staff, is pulling the players that got cut. There is about 20 players that actually didn't get drafted, but another 20 that actually got cut. Those are the players I'm going to be searching into as well. That's the homework you have to do. There's always a player that kind of gets missed. You guys know as coaches, it's very tough to find a player or to after one day, you're releasing these guys and you're not. Sometimes they get nervous. You don't really know. So I'm excited about my 3 picks, but not the actually top grade ones. But these are players I can work with, some players I can really work with. And here's the tough thing for them. They got drafted. Now they have to come to my intake. My intake is, they're going to be matched up with another 20 players, reserve players, my rookie players, before they even get invited to training camp. So once the players are drafted, they're not guaranteed a contract. They still have to do some work. So now it's a big to-do. The league is generating a lot of interest. We have 14 teams, 2 teams in Mexico right now. We're really trying to kind of expand it. I like what the league's doing because they're really going back and it's really kind of working on the growth of the league, the quality of the league. So it's good. It's good. I actually hit back, finally able to get out of Bermuda. And somebody's trying to keep me stuck down here. I'm trying to get out of Bermuda to get back. Wednesday, I'll get back. I will be calling the players tonight. As a couple, I was in Dallas. So no, it was a good to do today. So I'm excited for the players.
Yeah. The 3 players you were able to select, David, Are you able to release who they were?
No, can't release them. What I can tell you is 2 midfielders and actually one, 2 midfielders and one defender. Sorry, one target. The target that I actually, am I still on? Yeah, the target that I selected, I was looking for a player that's so I can add to the systematic play I'm doing. I'm actually trying a new system this year. So I wanted to find a player, big boy, strong, good speed, that can hold the ball up. All the players I was looking at, technically sound. One player is a local kid, local young man. The other player is actually from, one player from California. All the players I was looking for was between that age of 25 and 28. Yeah, guys, especially 20 was a little bit more mature. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you have a tour starting in December. When the season kicks off, but before that, you got your preseason and so forth. So we want to wish you all the best. First of all, to get out of Bermuda.
Let me get out of the country first. I love Bermuda, but I have to get back. I have to get back.
And congratulations to your father, who was honored last night during the North Village Legends Bowl. I think it was well worth it.
That was a great event. Really was very impressed. And the one thing is that I was impressed with was that the history that is, that North Village has. And I know that I'm sure other clubs do it. The one thing is that I'm really tuned in with the Baltimore Blast is history, right? Nobody can actually just put on a Blast uniform. That's not how it works. Even our reserve players don't get a number. They're not given a number until they actually get the first team. So these little things, so I really hope that the players of North Village, the current players, understand that the value and the depth and the history that's with the North Village Club.
Yeah. Well, guys, again, we send our condolences to the Charles Marshall family, as we've lost someone who has dedicated a lot of time and energy and their life to football in Bermuda, former president of the Bermuda Football Association, also former president of the Bermuda Referees Association. So again, we end tonight with condolences to the Marshall family. Good night.